And so we're in another sin cycle. And if you look in the verses previous, chapter 3, 9 and 10, they were in a sin cycle, and God raised up this judge, Othniel. The Spirit of the Lord came on him, and he had this power. And he defeated the king of Aram. And it says that he overpowered them. He overpowered his enemies. Real gung-ho type of guy. The Rambo of the Bible. He overpowered his enemies. And this story is put in contrast to our next character, Ehud. Because Ehud doesn't overpower his enemy. He outsmarts his enemy. Anytime in the Bible, usually when it talks about God's power, it talks about his right hand. But when it talks about God's smarts or his wisdom, it talks about his left hand. In this story, God is using his left hand. I want you to turn to the person next to you and tell them, God is using his left hand in your life. Okay, don't argue with him now. It's just a mnemonic device. Come on. God is using his left hand. Anytime you have a situation where you prayed about it, came up here for prayer, prayed for you, what's going on? How can I pray for you? Did God do anything? And then you're like, no, God didn't do anything. Cast demons out, put oil on you. You fast, you pray some more, and the situation is still there. God is using his left hand. The left hand. What you can't really see, what's really not obvious to you. The left hand. What's the things that are not so happy and exciting and beautiful. God is using his left hand in your life because he wants to show you his wisdom. The story, it says, once again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. And I love that because it doesn't say they did evil in the eyes of other nations. It doesn't say they did evil in the eyes of each other. It says they did evil in the eyes of the Lord. And in our society, we're so relativistic. What's good for you is good for you. What's good for me is good for me. What's bad for you is bad for you. What's bad for me is bad for me. We don't really think about what God thinks of it. And so it says they did evil in the eyes of the Lord. And what was this evil? It was the evil of idolatry. And usually when we think of idolatry or idols, we think of statues that people would go to. And, you know, I saw this movie, Julie and Julia, and the lady, she seemed like she was worshiping Julia Child. You guys know Julia Child, the cook? And so she went to Julia Child's Smithsonian exhibit and put a piece of butter under her picture. So we think of idolatry like that. Like you place something in front of a statue, you kneel down. But idolatry is subtle. Idolatry is not that obvious. Food can be an idol. Money, most definitely, can be an idol. Family can be an idol. And I'll tell you, the number one idol in America, in our society today, is the self. Think about it. Frank Sinatra had a song, and it characterizes our culture. I did it my way. I did it my way. There was another song, Bon Jovi, It's all about me. Burger King had commercials, Have It Your Way. And my favorite, back in the day when we were in junior high, it was Bobby Brown. It's my prerogative. I could do what I want to do. No matter who you are, you could say, I'm an atheist right now. But even if you're an atheist, you're serving and worshiping yourself, because the human heart longs to worship something. That's why people go crazy. You have all these crazy fans. I love Michael Jackson. I'm messed up that Michael Jackson died. And you get wrapped up in somebody else's life. That's why you have a whole channel, the E channel, devoted to the lives of the stars, because we all need something or somebody to worship. And this was the sin that got Israel in trouble. And God says, okay, if you want to worship something other than me, you're going to have to serve something other than me. See, the fault, the defect in worshiping something other than God is the miniature gods that we create and that we worship always, in the end, will mistreat us. You worship the god of money. You're at work all the time, getting ulcers, trying to meet deadlines. You don't even know your family. You got kids and you're like, hey, you, come over here. Forget their names. In the end, you end up a lonely person, a lonely woman, a lonely man, because you served a God other than the God that we read about in the Bible. Some people worship the God of pleasure. And pleasure, it seems like, how could pleasure mistreat me? If I get everything I want, when I want it, how I want it. Just talk to the people in Alcoholics Anonymous. Talk to the people whose lives have been ruined by adulterous affairs, and you'll see where pleasure gets you. And so God says, I'm not going to stop you from getting what you want, but make sure it's what you want. A lot of times we think it's God punishing us. God is just dealing with the laws of the universe. If you serve something other than me, I promise you, you will hurt. So they serve these gods. And God gives them over. It says he gave Eglon, king of Moab, power over Israel. And Moab was a nation that was just east of Israel, across the Jordan River.